Okay, we finished up with our template and now we're ready to go ahead and add some content. So I'm going to go here. There's my template. I'm going to do File, Save As. I'm going to call it index.html and then save it. So now what I'm editing is my index. My template stays down here. I need to go into my content and I need to go find my index page. So Trident Tennis Home, Control C. Come on, what the heck? Control V, I accidentally hit the Windows. What happened there? Control Z. Content. Copy. Paste. All right, that worked. And then I have a description. And again, you should be creating your own content for your client website using this same exact format. And again, use a Microsoft Word. Then I paste that in here, Control V. And then after you've gotten all your words and you know that they're spell checked, then copy and paste them into your content.html and add your markup. Okay, so I'll do Control C or copy. And then I'll come down here and I'll get rid of all this mess. I think I grabbed too much. Let's see. Yeah, just the H2 and the paragraphs. So let me go ahead and move this down. I grab the H2 and the paragraphs and I copy. No. And I copy. Oh, then I come over here and I just paste it in. And it's out of whack, so I select this text and tab it over. All right, and then we do File, Save All, Refresh. So there's my template page. When I click on Home, I get that. Now I went ahead and did the same thing. It's the same procedure for all the pages, so I'm not going to stop and do all that. But once you get done, what you do is once you finish this, you would close index, open up template, File, Save As, Membership, and then copy and paste. And then save it, close it, open up template again. You have to keep doing that or you're going to overwrite a good page with another page. So you want to make sure that once you fix a new page, you close that page, open up the template, and then do a File, Save As to start the next page. So it has to be done for each of the pages. And then you can see I have Academy, Membership, Mission, and everything's looking pretty good. Problem I have is when this thing gets stretched, you can see that people are going to have to look over each one. So what we want to do is when it gets this fat, we don't want people moving their head back and forth trying to read it. And what we're going to do is something we've done similar before, and that is use columns. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we want to go ahead and add some columns. Now, those columns are going to be in paragraphs, and it's going to be in the ULLI. So since it's going to be in more than one place, I want to go ahead and add a class for that, and I'm going to call it columns. And the columns is going to be columns. And then we do the shorthand, and that is what is the max width? And we're going to do 400 pixels. And how many do I want? And that is going to be 3. All right. So now all we have to do is add that. Now that I have my class, I'm going to do File, Save All. Then I'm going to open up my index page, and I'm going to say, well, I want these paragraphs to be in columns, but I can't add the class to each of the paragraphs, or it's going to just put columns for each one, and it's not going to look right. So instead, I'm going to create a container for those paragraphs, and it'll be div dot columns and tab. Now, the biggest problem students have is they leave this here. So what you want to do is you don't want to copy that. You want to cut it, Control X, or right click cut. You want to get rid of it. And then go down below the last paragraph and add it in. And then tab these over, and we're looking good. So let's see if that works. We'll do File, Save All, and refresh. You can see there's our columns. And this is kind of a narrow screen that I'm using. You can see that it's totally responsive. They will merge back in. And then when it gets, I can't even get it to 4. So maybe I should have used a little bit smaller, but it doesn't even get to 3. But it will if I get a wide enough screen. So this looks pretty good, except notice that training is across from a blank line. I want this T to move up. So we do that with CSS. And again, we've done that before. So just to reiterate how we do that, I'm going to say, I'm going to use my class as part of a selector. I'm going to do dot columns, and then space P. So I want to target the paragraph inside of the columns class, but I don't want all of them. I just want the first one. So I'm going to do first child. And what I need to do is remove the margin from the top. So we're going to do margin top 0. Whoops, that's an O, 0, and then semicolon. And then do File, Save All, and come back. So what's happening is there's a margin on top of this paragraph, which is pushing it down. That margin is not over here, so it's not pushing it down, and that's why they're not even. But now when I refresh it, boom, now they're all going to be the same. And it won't hurt once it gets down to 1 because this actually also has margin and it pushes it down. So that was working fine. So then let's go into Academy. Okay, and that is working. And let's go into membership. And that is working. Why is that working? Okay, let's go into, what was that one that we just did? That was membership. So membership magically has columns here. So the question is, do we want to have it like that? You can see that we have a padding issue. I'm not so sure that's necessary. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Control X. And let's put it up in the paragraph and see how that works. And we'll do File, Save All, and refresh. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So these paragraphs are columned, but this is just one list. All right, let's take a look at mission. And mission looks pretty good. And again, to make life easier, I had already put them in. So let's take a look at each one. So in index, I put a div for the paragraphs. For membership, well, let's not do membership. Let's do mission. So mission, you can see I put the class inside the UL so that the buttons are side by side rather than being one stack. For membership, kind of want these to be 1 through 15 and not be strung all over the place. So that's why that's there. And again, if we go back into here, anytime we want to use columns now, we have a lot of text. We want to go ahead and just add the class. So we're going to add the class to index with a div because that had a bunch of paragraphs. Mission, because it's already in a UL and we want the LIs to be in columns. And Academy. In Academy, same thing. We had a bunch of paragraphs with H3s and yada, yada, yada. So that is all going to be inside this container with columns. So just remember that container thing. If we try to put class columns to each one of these P's, each one would be its own column, and that wouldn't look right because then you'd have to read half of this, right? And then you went down and you get the first half of that, and the second half of this is over on the side of the page. So we want to have a container that's going to put all those columns in there. All right, so that is creating the pages and then also creating a style that's going to allow us to be able to put columns in. And again, if I wanted to, we weren't seeing 3, but if I say I brought this down to 300, file, save all, and refresh, I could probably get it out. See, now it's doing 3. Let's go back to home where you can see it best. Sometimes, though, it's not going to work as well as you want. So I try to just keep it to 400 because you don't want this thing dancing around on you. So I still think making this 400 and making it 3 works out well because it's probably not going to go to 3 except a super wide or a high resolution screen. And we really want to, on a large screen for sure, we really want to have that going into 3 columns. All right, that's it for this lesson. On to the next.